morning and welcome to another Sunday morning sketch. This is Eric Whalen of Super Secret Project X, and this morning I think I'm going to continue on with my entirely not planned series of grisly old cartoon dudes. I think I'm going to do Mr. Incredible this morning, and I know that Pixar has probably produced better films since The Incredibles, but to be honest, The Incredibles is like probably my favorite one. And I love the other films, but The Incredibles is amazing. So, yeah, I get that adjusted there. All right. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a long week, and I don't know how chatty I'm going to be. Might be a little. Oh, yeah, and once again, just in case you think that I'm, like, amazing or something, I've got myself some resources here. Mostly because if I had a brain that could memorize every cartoon character, I'd be probably sitting in a different place in my life right now. Not necessarily a better or worse place, just a different one. It was funny last time Lashida was on the couch and we were talking a lot about Gravity Falls. Finally had a chance to finish up the series again on Netflix last night. And I still got to go back to saying that there's not a lot of stuff that really surprises me in entertainment, to be completely honest, which probably makes me sound like a horrible snob sometimes. I try not to be. But if something just isn't all that, interesting, if something doesn't just like grab me, then I might enjoy it, but I probably won't carry it with me for very long. Which is why I kind of like maybe rag a little too hard on some shows, because like people just hold on to them, and I, for the life of me, can't understand why. Like, I get, like, they enjoyed it, like, I mean, no doubt, but, like, they held on to things for so long. But, like, Gravity Falls, you get to the end of that one, and, like, it looks like a cute cartoon, and in some ways it clearly is, but then it uses that against you. Like, there's just bits where you're like, oh, yeah, the villain, he's kind of a funny ha-ha kind of villain, and then they make it very clear that what's funny about him is actually very disturbing. I mean, I think my favorite line of Bill Cipher's, because the first time I heard it, my mouth literally dropped open because I just didn't see it honestly coming, is the boy-girl twins are like 12 and they go running off, and it's the kind of the last big conflict against the villain, and they kind of escape, and a couple of the other characters are left behind, and Bill Cipher traps these other two characters and looks at them and says, "If you will excuse me, I have a couple kids I need to turn into corpses. I'll be right back." And I was just like, I was like, that's wonderful. I finally a villain that acts like a villain. He's really awful, and the first time I heard that, it caught me off guard, and the second time I heard it, I'm like, oh right, yeah, he did say that, didn't he? just wonderful. And then I mean, it's like I was on having a chat with one of the guys from college on Facebook, and we were kind of talking about, and once again, if you like this character, I'm not ragging on you for liking the character, I just don't get it. We were talking about how supposedly great Darth Maul was in some of the prequels for Star Wars, and I just didn't get it, you know? Hey, sweetie. And I just didn't get it, because I was like, well, he's kind of a nothing character. I mean, yeah, he was threatening, and it was an okay fight. I mean, it wasn't a great fight, but it was an okay fight. And I mean, the stunts were definitely impressive, and I don't blame the actors or anything. But overall, he's just sort of forgettable. And I've been trying to figure out, personally, it's been a personal frustration of mine, why I can't seem to understand why people attach onto these characters that literally were zero characters. I mean, his name should have been Darth Fight Scene. And once again, I mean, no offense to people who like him, but it's like he didn't say anything. He growled at one point. I mean, there was one really good moment of character in him, and it was him just kind of being an animal, but it was really good. Lashida and I both agree with think that this scene's really good. It's in the middle of the fight in the Star Wars movie, and him and the two Jedi are fighting, and then like the force field walls come down, and you get this great moment where you see the three personality types kind of dealing with not being able to get to each other, and it was actually really interesting. And it's like the only moment you see any amount of personality in him. And I just have a hard time. I was like, oh no, he's okay. He's kind of like, like a kind of an awesome dude in a drunken bar brawl. I'm like, yeah, I remember that dude in that bar brawl. He was kind of awesome. But why you really attach yourself to loving this character? I mean, outside the fact that he's like a really great design for like an action figure, he's a zero character. And what did you think, hon?
The best part of that fight scene was the non-fight scene.
Yeah, that was it. The best part of that fight was when they stopped fighting. Because everything else, it was like, and this is going to be purely a matter of personal taste. And once again, I ain't judging anybody. And it's not me trying to be an old fart, but the kind of the cool things about the original Star Wars with the lightsaber fights, they were like samurai films. They weren't 8,000 swings of the sword. They were like, maybe it was like 20 or 5 in some cases. It was like, and that was about it, like the Jedi would be, we're way too awesome, and then like a limb would fall off. And the new ones, they're kind of like weed whackers, just sort of endlessly like they can't hit anything. And then they go, oh, that's the skill of the other guy. I'm like, yeah, but they're still swinging at the air, hitting nothing. And it gets to the point where, like, with that fight, and I like fight scenes, but I think I was checking my watch at one point going like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's been going on for 20 minutes now, or whatever, 15 minutes, and when they finally stopped and gave me a character moment, I was like, oh wait, this isn't just like a pro wrestling fight with special effects, which is kind of what it honestly was turning into. It was just sort of oh, look, they're fighting again. And so with Darth Maul, that one little moment, I was like, okay, no, he's sort of an animal. I'm like, okay, he's a dude who, he's got some problems. I mean, but yeah, I mean, he wasn't a mustache twirler.
He's a Darth.
But yeah, he's a Darth. He's Darth Fight Scene. He was and then I look at other characters that people just kind of go, oh, it's cool, blah blah blah, and I go like, well, you look at Mr. Incredible or Grunkle Stan, or any number of characters that actually like say things and do things, and I'm like, and nobody brings them up. I'm like, is it that they just don't dress in black and be angsty and have a really excessive fight scene? I mean, is that it? Is this what I'm missing? Is that it's actually just that kind of vapid?
How many people do you know that latches on to either the villain-esque type hero characters or the anti-hero? How many people have you know now?
Well, no, I mean, I know that. I don't have an issue with that kind of character because some of those characters were really well done.
Well, I'm saying, the majority of
Yeah, because I don't want us to judge. It's just I'm having a hard time understanding this, really.
Lots of people like the villains because the villains don't care about the rules. The heroes usually have to stick to the rules.
Yeah.
The villains make the rules. So.
Oh yeah, no, and I get that. It's I have villains that I like. I'm not saying that you can't like villains. Like Darth Vader is an amazing. Well, until they turned him into, the whiny teenage kid Darth Vader, but the original Darth Vader was really great because he was really like the classic sci-fi villain, and then you found out, that there was a person in there. Now, you didn't get a ton on him, but you got enough moments with his son where you're going like, wait, you even hear little moments where he's kind of like, yeah, it's too late for me, man. I'm sorry. It's this is what I am now.
That's what you just said. That's it exactly. Because Darth Vader, in that time, he was the authoritative father figure.
Yeah.
And how many people, like when they came to Darth Maul, were the angsty, rebellious boys? And that's what Darth Maul was. He was the angsty, rebellious teen figure. So they can relate more to the rebellious teen figure than to the angsty father figure who's trying to control their lives.
That's an interesting take. But I still have to go, and I can see that. I just still have to go back and go like, yeah, but at least it's something you can understand with Darth. Is it that just Darth Maul is such an empty shell that people can pretend that maybe they're him?
Oh, that's fine.
Or her. Maybe that's a female in their species. I don't know. Maybe the males look completely different and that's actually a female. I have no clue.
She was on a period. That's why she was red. Normally she's like bright like green.
Yeah, the males are actually like powder blue, and smiley, and the women are, of Darth Maul's race are just like psycho tattooed crazy people.
It's breeding season on the planet.
But yeah, it's not, I don't want to judge people's likes. I think everyone has the right to like who they like. I just have a hard time understanding the draw to certain characters, because I end up looking at them going like, is it that they're just so nothing that the person just fills themselves into the space and goes like, I can be that, kind of like, I can be Darth Maul. I feel like Darth Maul because Darth Maul is actually nothing, so they can make him into whatever they want.
I think it's because, at least with Darth Maul, it's because he was the powerful, strong, fighting, I don't give a crap. I'm just gonna like, he's the power character. A lot of those people want power, whether through physical, like a lot of times through physical aspects, and he was the epitome of what they saw as powerful. Even though he was evil, but they saw him as a strong guy going up against the good forces and basically overpowering them until, of course, good has to win over evil.
So you're saying he's the weak person's concept of what a strong person is like? Because I don't see strong people like him. To me, he's somebody who's inevitably going to fail because they have no control of themselves.
Yeah, his own anger is his downfall, which exactly what happened. His own anger was his downfall.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying is that's what I didn't understand why people got drawn to him. I'm like, he's kind of, and I apologize for my language, but he's kind of a dumbass. He's just somebody who can't control himself. And basically was dumb enough to let somebody who was much stronger send him into a death trap. He's dumb. He's not bright at all. And yeah, he was dangerous, but to be honest, they were making robots with force fields and like lasers to kill the Jedi that in large enough number would have completely outdone him. He's not that much more dangerous. He's not a Darth Vader. He's just Darth Fight Scene, and I don't want to judge anybody's like of this character. I like some really dumb characters. I like Hart from Fist of the North Star, which was a giant, indestructible fat man. I can't say like my taste is superior in any way. I just don't get some like some people almost want to marry these characters. They like them so much. I don't want anyone out there thinking that I'm judging you. I really don't, because like I can talk. There's just some shows and some characters that I just get so lost on. I'm like, why do they love these? Some of these characters are serious. It's like, it's not that I'm saying that they're bad, you know, like they're bad shows or whatever, but it's like sometimes the love is so extreme. I'm like, I just don't like get it. Like, I get the love of Star Wars. I just don't get the love of why some people are, you know, kind of base their life off of it. And I was born in the same year it came out. I mean, that was one of my childhood series, you know, of movies. You know, that was up there with Indiana Jones, and I mean, really great stuff. And I still think they're fun. I just don't get why people get like so wrapped up in characters like Darth Maul. I'm just so lost. I'm like, he isn't even from the original movies, because we all know the prequels were pretty flawed. I think that's also why I probably slam Evangelion a lot, where I don't get why people dig it to the degree that they dig it, you know? And like, I think that everyone should watch Gravity Falls, for example, or Mystery Inc., or like, clearly not everybody will. I can just at least point to them and go like, see, there's interesting things happening with the characters, you know? And then everybody goes, yeah, that's really great how they had this whole, you know, arc of how they developed and, you know, how they changed by the end of this. But did you see his face tattoos? You go like, oh, yeah, face tattoo. Yeah, I just guess I'm just doing what I can to understand a species that is probably not understandable. I mean, have you run into that problem? I mean, for example, like the stuff I watch, have you ever seen stuff and just go like, why does Eric like blank so much? I mean, is that just something that I'm maybe not getting about people, or? Because I mean, like, for example, you like My Little Pony, and I can actually see why. Be like, oh no, I laugh at My Little Pony. You know, I mean, that's actually a really funny show. So it's like I can completely be like, no, I can see why. No, I'll take that back. I don't see why you like Rarity. I think she's insufferable. But I can see why you like the other characters.
There you go.
You know, I take that back. No, I get it. You know, but no, like the stuff that like I would. Actually, I probably watch so many bad movies that you're probably just sitting there shaking your head at times. No, I have seen you sit there and shake your head at me a couple of times.
There's been 20 years of me.
Shaking my head slowly at you, Eric.
It's the reason why I physically got angry when we were watching the one I'm gonna call him Black Belt Jones.
Yeah, well, Black Samurai.
Yeah, we were watching that, and as much as I like that character, that movie
Is so bad.
it made me physically angry. And
Oh, it's terrible.
And I can't place why, but it did. I don't know if I was just having a cranky day that day or was just tired, but I was physically angry with that movie. And to me, you loved it, but I didn't say anything because you loved it.
Well, no, well, it's a terrible movie. I mean, that's the reason why I like it. I mean, you know, I mean, seriously, at one point in time, the main no, it's not Black Samurai.
No,
It's
I'll say it was another
that's
one.
wrong. That's but it's with Black Belt Jones.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
But yeah, there's a fight scene where he's fighting a cowboy midget in a tree, and he's a kung fu guy with a giant fro, and it's terrible. It's so badly done. But I'm also just sitting there the whole time just going like, somebody thought this was a good idea. And then he heroically yanks this poor little cowboy dude off a branch, and the guy like falls to his death, and I'm like, this is a heroic act? I'm like, this is a terrible movie. So I mean, I could totally see why people are like, no, Eric, no, I will not watch that. That is, no. I can see it. I mean, I'm not blind. But I'm kind of enjoying that because it's so kind of like, you're trying to like decipher the puzzle as to why somebody made this, you know, but then, so, you know, it's like, I know it's bad, that's kind of the point, but it's not like you like yank this movie out and show it to everybody and wear like t-shirts and there's like a t-shirt with a black dude with a giant fro and a kung fu outfit yanking a midget out of a tree. And I'd be like, dude, it's the greatest thing ever, you know, like, I mean, that's the weirdest, and that's kind of what I see when some people are going in and like wearing like Darth Maul shirts. I'm going like, you realize he was a marketing ploy, right? I mean, he was there to sell action figures, you know?
Jim Kelly, that was his name.
Jim Kelly.
I can remember that. I was like, it's like, it was something.
Was it Black Belt Jones?
That's the name. That was the.
Yeah, that's a stage name.
That's the movie. Yeah. Well, that's the stage name. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
Oh, let's see if we can find out.
Because it's not like he did a ton of them. He only did a handful of. There was only a handful of blaxploitation kung fu movies. I mean, to be honest with you.
Oh, Black Belt Jones was a movie.
Was it? It was called Black Belt Jones. That's how long ago I watched it.
His father, Scatman Crothers, and daughter saved the school of their self-defense from Los Angeles mobsters. So I don't think that was the one that we were watching.
Yeah, because the one we were watching, it was some kind of a convoluted, like he was I don't want to say a spy, but he was like some kind of agent or whatever, and he had like a cool agent car. I think it was like Pimp Purple or something.
Let's see. Well, he lived a pretty decent life from 19, well, he lived till he was 67. A little young, but let's see, movies. Oh, let me see, it probably was Black Samurai.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember if he ever actually had a sword in that movie.
I don't think it's about a samurai.
You know, that's what I'm saying. The whole thing was so weird that it was like.
Dude, Black Samurai is based off of a novel.
Are you kidding me?
We gotta find that novel.
We have to find that novel.
Based on a novel with the same name by Mark Olden.
That is, oh wow, that's.
Let's see, plot of Black Samurai. Robert Sand, agent of Dragon.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. Defense Reserve Agency, Guardian of Nations. Okay, so that was.
Apparently, he was defending America. If I recall correctly, he was defending America from three things that were just so strange to watch. He was defending America from apparently midget cowboys with bullwhips. Well, but in that context, I'm fair because so much politically incorrect stuff came out of his mouth. And it was really weird. This is the weird one, and I use this term because it's like how it was done in the movie, like the Savages of Africa, which was weird. So it was a black American guy with a fro fighting like African tribesmen, which was really strange. And he like drowned one of them in a lake. It was so strange. And what was the other one? Oh yeah. The primary physical fight was this big muscled black gay martial artist that he just kept taunting and insulting in really horrible ways at the end. And I'm just sitting there going like, this is just like a look into a completely different world. And I was young, but alive in the 70s. And I'm going like, I guess I just don't remember this world. Like, just people being like this kind of mean to each other. And the movie was so dreadful and just so.
Wow, there's an entire series.
Is there? Is there a series of those movies?
Yeah, MarkOlden.com, a series of the novels.
Of the novels. How many novels?
Oh, let me see. Black Samurai is the first in this series, and they have chapter 1 available for reading. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Second, The Golden Kill. Third, Killer Warrior. Deadly Pearl, the Inquisition, the Warlock, Sword of Allah, and the Katana.
Now, Sword of Allah is a great name.
See, the synopsis of that one: politics makes sinister allies, and there was never a more deadly combination than an Arab terrorist group backed by billions in oil money, and a right-wing organization masterminded by a U.S. senator. That sounds familiar.
See, if I was aware that there was a book series based upon a blaxploitation samurai, I would have been on this a long time ago.
They were out to deliver a savage 1-2 punch against America by murdering the entire crew of a Soviet-American space shot.
What?
Corpse by corpse, they moved closer to their goal of pushing America over the brink. And Robert Sand, the black samurai, had only his mastery of the martial arts to hold back the steamroller of endless wealth and infinitely evil power.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I gotta know. Is there audiobooks of this? And tell me it's read by, like, Leonard Nimoy or something.
Give me a second, because there is an iTunes link.
Is there?
Give me a second.
Oh, yes. Yes.
There's an audiobook of Black Samurai.
Oh.
Not too sure about the other ones here.
Who is it read by anybody fabulous? Like James Earl Jones?
No, it's read by a guy named Kevin Kennerly.
I don't know that guy.
Yeah.
He's probably fabulous, though, because he's reading...
Wait. Black Samurai, I'm scrolling down. Audiobooks and iTunes. Oh, no, I did not... Why are you giving me stuff I don't... You jerk.
Because we're old and it's technology.
No, apparently my little tiny fingers hit the wrong thing of the giant iPad here.
Oh, little tiny fingers.
Let's see, Black Samurai. Yes, there are audiobooks, but you have to pay for them. They're like $10 a piece.
Oh, are they like 45 minutes for $10, or are they like a 19-hour epic of like Black Samurai?
Black Samurai itself, $9.95. 6 hours, 9 minutes.
That's not bad for $9.95, actually. I might pick that one up.
So then we have The Golden Kill, which is book 2. The Katana is the last one, if I'm not mistaken. Killer Warrior, Sword of Allah, The Warlock. Yeah, it looks like they have all of them as audiobooks on here.
Oh, wow, I'm going to have to look into that. That sounds like... Okay, I think I know what my birthday present is.
Check YouTube, because YouTube may have them available for free.
I only YouTube stuff when I'm kind of certain that there isn't a legal version of it. It's like if there's a legal version of it, then they're basically asking people to go find alternate versions, because it's like, hey, if I want to buy something, then make it available to me. Don't lock it up with rights and all that, and then never release it. That's like weird, crazy talk.
It looks like there's little samples, so you can kind of hear what you're getting into. But
I actually, and this is going to sound weird, I don't hope that they suck. I hope that they're just really strange and trashy. That's what I want out of it. I want to really, I doubt something like that's going to be like a big epic, beautifully written language, blah, blah, blah. I'm just kind of hoping that it is just as messed up as that movie was. I'm actually digging the Black Samurai movie even more now that I know that it was like a property they were trying to get going.
if you check on YouTube, there's samples of the various books. It's read by the automated voices.
Oh, that's dreadful.
Yeah, but it'll at least give you an idea of what you're listening to or what you're going to be doing. But yeah, the entire series is available off of iTunes here. So yeah, either your birthday for next year or Christmas for this year if you like.
Maybe we should put up a super secret Project X part on the site where it's like, buy these dreadfully bad things Eric likes on Amazon and give us a tiny percentage of the sales.
Well, there are wish lists.
I know, that's what I'm saying, is I'm kind of going like, oh.
Yeah, I actually have a few friends that with their stuff, they'll actually do if you don't, in lieu of you wanting to donate or anything like that, you can buy this gift here for somebody, for one of the creators, and
Oh
say
no,
thank you.
it's not like that. It's there's Dan Carlin does it on Hardcore History, where all the books that he's read for his history bits, he's like, if you want to buy this book, you know, buy it through here from Amazon, and I get a little bit of a kickback from it if you don't want to, you know.
Okay, I actually would do that too. One of my favorite podcast people, they do that. They have various things of this. Like, yeah, if you buy this product through this link here, I get a little bit of a percentage, and you're buying something that you want.
Yeah, because the last thing I need is, and this is going to sound weird, the last thing I need is people buying me stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's not you.
well, it's not only not me, we don't have enough room in the place to just start getting stuff. And that's why I keep telling people, just don't buy me gifts, you know, save the money for your, you know, your kids' college or whatever, because I'm like, it's just save your money. You know, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need gifts and stuff.
Well, also, thanks to iTunes, there is we can do sample of both the audiobooks and the actual novels, so check it out.
I would not play that out loud here.
No, this is the visual novel. This is the actual novel. I'm just showing you.
The Deadly Pearl.
Yeah. Because you can actually.
And then we read it, we find out there's a strange, bizarre thing going on with Steven Universe, that they actually got Pearl from the Black Samurai series. And it's just like this hot, skinny, tall white woman the Black Samurai gets with like, you know, like Bond and the Bond girl, but for no apparent reason she's got like a pearl glued to her forehead because it's a terrible, cheesy story. And then like Rebecca Sugar is like a huge like she's just addicted to blaxploitation kung fu novels and went, gonna create a character out of this. The Deadly Pearl.
Considering there's a character in here, the pimp in here is named Pearl.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be like, man, that'd be one of those like just messed up things. Like you'd be sitting back and you're like, no, that's not true, and everyone's like, oh.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Ever just have these moments where you're just stuck on one stupid little feature of the face? Yep. Okay, there we go. I think I'm finally getting it. It's driving me crazy. All right.
For me, it's either it almost happens in almost every drawing, and it'll be flowing all of a sudden like, oh, of course you know how to draw hands, but apparently you don't know how to draw them with this one, or yeah, this angle on the leg here. You've been drawing legs for like probably 30 years. Why is this angle suddenly weird? Or why doesn't this eye match up with this eye?
In this case, I was like stuck on this part of this corner of the mouth, and I still don't quite have it right. I'm like, why is this corner not working?
Twinkle, twinkle, wonder why I can draw the other eye.
I know. Yeah, I love Mr. Incredible's design, but strangely enough, I'm actually having more of a difficult time translating a more comparatively realistic-looking character than the cartoony ones. Oh well.
It's because you. I don't know.
It's my feeling. It's been a long, kind of, which is weird because it wasn't a bad week. It was just sort of a long one for no apparent reason.
Well, it's warmer. You're not used to being warm.
It might be it. And it's as much as I like sunshine, it's also kind of not good for me.
It's becoming summertime, and you've not really been a big summertime person.
Yeah.
Allergies, warmth, and brightness are kind of your not your thing there.
It's my kryptonite, my dorkanite. Sunlight, it's my dorkanite.
Egonite. The scare ball.
Well, I just don't want to, be kind of like that ridiculous stereotype of the fanboy, but I really just have a hard time with bright sunlight. I mean, it actually runs in the family,
Alright, I'm sending you the link for markholden.com. That way you can take a look at everything that he has.
Yeah, I'll check that out. That's marvelous.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Might even have just found like Mikey's wedding gift. Because my feeling is he would totally dig something like that if he doesn't already know about it. Yes, as you have literally covered up Mr. Incredible's head with your message. There. I'm going like, honey, I can't see Mr. Incredible's head. Your link has blocked me.
Oldham's last book, which he left in a manuscript at the time of his death in 2003, is an unusual espionage novel set in England just prior to the outbreak of World War II and is entitled The Smiler with the Knife Under the Cloak.
What a title. What a title. That's what I kind of like about some of those old books. There's just moments where they were going like, I have no idea where the future's going. Let's just write a crazy thing and see what happens.
His father, I actually studied some of his stuff. His father was a graphic designer by the name of George Oldham. I think I may have seen some of his stuff. I remember looking at it when I was a kid. Apparently he was like one of the biggest graphic designers of his time period.
What was his time period?
He passed away in 75, so between...
What, the 30s and 40s then?
40s through the 70s.
40s to 70s.
Apparently, let's see, he dropped out of college after Pearl Harbor to work as a graphic designer for the Office of Strategic Services, forerunner of the CIA.
Yeah, the OSS.
He was the first African American to design a postage stamp.
Oh, no, here's the weird thing that was just in my head. For some bizarre reason, I was just imagining some skinny little white guy writing blaxploitation. How weird is that? I mean, my assumption being that the only white people got published, which is, I mean, to be fair, that's probably pretty typical, but clearly not always the truth.
That,
I mean, considering the time period, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like and I don't know. I don't want to sound like one of the social justice warriors with this, but it's like that's basically your privilege coming into play with that.
But you know historically what I'm saying though.
Well, the fact that a lot of them, yeah, they got notably published, but a lot of the actual writers were ghostwriters.
Oh, that's a good point. That's Suzanne makes that point at work because when she goes and does her stuff, she has a different name that she puts on stuff so people don't know that she's a woman doing the work, so she can actually get work in publishing, which is grossly sad. And I love how people deny that happens, and yet I've got an example that I work with. And she's like, oh yeah, no, I go by this name so I can get work, because if I used my name, I won't get work. And she actually's got, like, you know, kind of proof. She's like, no, I just never got work when I had my female name on there. Which is kind of, then I kind of go by my sort of assumption that, and I agree with you on the privilege thing. I'm just saying I was going more off of a historical kind of, you know, like the big publishers were not the most progressive group of people throughout history, so I kind of made the assumption that. But you're right, ghostwriters and stuff, probably quite a few of them were just people were getting in and nobody was paying attention to who was writing what. Well, not to mention, I mean, that's kind of, you know, clearly that was meant for the, you know, the black populace. I mean, it was, you know, it was sort of a black James Bond character. At least he was in the movie. That's how I read him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the movie was dreadful and there were some hateful, ugly things happening in that movie.
All right, me and Derek, we're going to have a talk. Apparently, Derek and Steph and Jim and...
We are live, just in case you're...
I know. I'm saying, we're going to have a talk. They all...
Oh, about something immensely vague.
Well, I was about to say we can interrupt.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, I'm saying we're going to have a talk because a lot of them are all at the Brookfield Zoo right now and didn't inform us that they were going to the zoo.
I've never been to the Brookfield.
Exactly.
I've heard it's nice.
Exactly. We would have loved to have gone. Maybe you should let us know.
No, don't make them feel guilty.
I am.
Come on, I love Derek, but he's liquid guilt. He'll instantly turn into guilt and feel bad. Don't make him feel guilty. He's highly concentrated guilt matter. Or whatever.
Oh yeah, they can talk about me making them feel guilty. You're saying all that.
No, I'm joking. No, I just don't want to, make the poor guy feel guilty because
He needs a break.
yeah, because he needs to have a nice day with the family and all that. Yeah, I kind of like the strange racial history of like publishing and stuff, which is why it's sometimes difficult to understand stuff. Like, was it years back we found there was I wish I could remember where the article even was. I don't remember where it was from, but it was talking about like the racist cartoons of like I think that one was the 60s, I think, and they were asking one of the guys, like, well, why did you make comics like this? And the guy just was like, oh, I'm not a racist. He's like, I didn't think this was racist. He was like, I actually fought the publisher to get black people into the comics. And then he put, like, this in, and then everybody today is reading it as racist. And he's like, no, that wasn't my intent. He's like, it's like I have black friends. I wanted black people in the comics, and now everybody thinks I was being a big racist. He's like that. It's like I'm sorry I wasn't good at drawing black people or whatever caused it. And I was going like, that's a really interesting point because everybody is looking at stuff through modern eyes. Not that there aren't people alive right now that was alive back then, but like society today's eyes, and just making these really big assumptions that people were being racist when some of them were like, no, just, maybe I just didn't draw things right or whatever. and then there must have been the ones who were just being like horrible kind of jerks. And you kind of end up going like, how do you make that argument to somebody who already has their heart set on, these people being horrible racist people?
Don't. You just leave them alone and let them to their thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of that stuff, it also depended on the context and how it was presented. I mean, if the guy was presenting the characters if he honestly did not know how to draw a black caricature without it being insulting.
Yeah.
But if he was doing it and they weren't like typical shucking and jiving, the lag about with like the slouched over do nothing kind of caricature of that time period. If he was actually making them intelligent or so, then he was just doing his part to try and integrate the comic. But if he was putting them in there and they were pretty much being the stereotype of that black person of that time period.
I'm trying to remember the art, and I remember looking at it, and I can't tell you what the clear intent was, because there wasn't enough of it in the story, but they did have samples of his art. And I don't want to say that it was as insulting as it was kind of stereotypical, like, but wasn't necessarily insulting. But you can kind of see, once I took a look at it, I was like, I can actually see both arguments. I'm like, I could see why people thought it, because when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, really? And then when I started hearing what the guy was saying, I was like, maybe he just, that was the best he could do.
Well, a prime example is, visual-wise, is the first Superman movie, like the very first Superman movie, 70s Superman movie. When he flies down in full Superman gear, the first person to see him is the Black Pimp. And what does he do? Man, that's a bad outfit. That's a product of that time period.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we look at it like, wow, that's a racist portrayal. But at that time period, that's what the black person was to a white movie maker. That was the stereotype of the popular black stereotype.
But on the same note, and I'm agreeing with you, Superman was a cartoon character, and so was the pimp character. So, which is what I mean about the whole, how exactly do you measure some of these things when you end up sitting there going like, I see what they're saying, but at the same time, it's a cartoon, and how do you do a cartoon of a group of people without it being stereotypical? Like I always liked it when they had like the really ridiculous cartoon white people in there. Well, like, they were all over the place. They were really silly and caricaturish, and so that's what I mean about I'm not remotely defending anything. I'm just kind of, it's interesting looking into the old like stereotypes and trying to figure out what the intent actually was, because I'm not so sure all of the social justice warriors got it right. I think their heart is probably in the right spot, but whether they got it right.
Yeah, in that time period, like I said, it's like with when Sesame Street, when they re-released a lot of their shows or the various episodes, and Whoopi Goldberg actually did a four talking. The brain is still waking up here. She actually like this is something that like the stuff that a lot of the racial things that we're going to see was a product of the time period.
Yeah.
That we did that for that. The old Looney Tunes cartoons, when they released them into the various platinum and gold collections and stuff, and silver collections, also did this was just a product of the time.
And I'm glad, because we shouldn't erase that stuff. That we need to keep that around, and
Yeah, I wish Disney would get off their high horse and re-release. Even though I've only seen bits of Song of the South, a lot of people really love that movie.
Yeah, and
they
it's,
won't release it because because of, at least last I heard, that's one of the reasons why they wouldn't release it out, because of the racial connotations of it.
and I understand that, but it's like when they took the Southern Confederate / white supremacy. Some of them was Confederate, some of it had white supremacy literally written on it. Down in the South recently, I'm going like, okay, that's probably the appropriate thing to do these days, but do not destroy those statues. Put them like into like a museum and keep that around as part of the discussion. Don't hide it. I could see why it was taken out of public, because even our friend James, I think he grew up in that area, but he had mentioned that he was angered. Person, he's a white dude. He was angered in his youth walking by those things. So, I mean, that wasn't just angering black people, that was angering the local populace. And some of the local populace is like, into it, but if it's ticking people off, and it's historically, it's out of place because it's like a weird little echo from the past, and like then preserve it in a museum and have the discussion. And why in the world would we have like bronzes with the words white supremacy on it in America, where everybody is supposed to be like equal and living in some form of like peace? But we most certainly shouldn't destroy those statues and get rid of them. We need to preserve that.
Yeah, it's like the I'm trying to remember what's the exact call, but the Museum of like Cultural Preservation or something like that. The museum that has a lot of the black caricature products in it. So like the little black Sambo oil
Right.
bottles and the Mammy figurines and Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's, all that stuff.
Right.
All of, like, a lot of that stuff is actually in, and it's a small museum, but a lot of stuff is
Yeah.
preserved in
Oh,
there.
and it should be, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We need to see this stuff, and we need to keep an eye out so we can know this is where we came from and this is where we don't need to go back to, because we saw all the problems it caused before.
Well, there's also this sort of weird little part of it being is at what point in time are we allowed to kind of, in a kind fashion, joke around and laugh at each other? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just moments where you end up going like, it's clear that this group of people did not mean to offend the other group of people. It's clear the intent was not malicious, yet what came out may have been inappropriate. But in some cases, like I've heard jokes about white people that I thought were just really funny, and I'm kind of like, well, some of it's kind of true, you know. And I can see why people would get mad. Probably people with a little too much pride, perhaps, or maybe the joke was intended in a malicious fashion. But I kind of want us to get back to a point where I find joking and laughing to be healthy.
And don't cue Derek is apologizing.
Derek, don't.
He just messaged me.
I know, don't apologize. Oh,
I'm gonna say, dude, I was joking.
oh, see, oh, I love that man to death, but don't apologize. You don't need to apologize. I mean, am I off about the humor thing, though? I mean, it's like, remember, look, a lot of Mel Brooks stuff had, like, some really kind of, like, wow jokes in there. And I know that was in response to the time period, but at the same note, I'm kind of like, and everyone was laughing at some of this humor. And yet some of the political correctness police today would just kind of be all over it. And I mean, I understand, but I mean, how many times do each of us, kind of laugh at our own groups and then look at the other's group and laugh too, going like, to me, it's black and white people are funnier when we're contrasted to each other in a friendly way, because, well, this is going to sound ridiculous, but we're kind of like the Oreo cookie and the cream. To be honest, we're really wonderful together. Pretty good apart. Like you like the cream or the cookie. They're good apart, but they're not. But they're great together. You know? And they're great together because of the contrast, and his chin's bugging me.
okay, dude, it's fine, it's all right. It's like, besides, it's supposed to be a really hot, bright day today, Eric will probably
Yeah.
spontaneously combust.
Yeah. You do know, of course, that within the next couple weeks he will attempt to make another zoo trip and invite us to it.
That's what I'm telling him, dude. No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Apparently, last week at the barbecue, they were all talking about it and said, "Oh, sure, let's go do that." It's like it's okay.
It's okay. It's funny. It's almost, and it's not bad, but it's like he's too kind. Like, it's awesome that he is, but there's moments where you're just going like, no, dude, have a selfish moment. You don't need to worry about other people. Have a selfish moment. It's okay.
He has an absolute gigantic heart.
Oh, I know, which is awesome, but there's moments where I'm just sitting back going like, no, dude, you don't have to. Stop. Because you just don't have to. You don't have to do that. It's okay. It's totally awesome. Don't worry about it.
I'm trying to say, I know I saved it somewhere. One of the monuments. I saved the script that was written or chiseled into there because I've had some people get angry at me at my response of, yes, they need to go down, but they need to be kept, but they do need to be removed.
Well, some people are being really extremist about this. And it's like you can't erase history. That's what the Nazis did,
Yeah, and the
or
thing is,
tried.
and that's what they're trying to say, is that they're trying to say that people are erasing history by taking down these monuments. It's like, we're not erasing history, first of all. And second of all, it's a monument to failure. I hate to put it that way, but
Oh
it
no,
is.
yeah.
And
The people who are into the Confederate stuff are people who worshipped a massive failed experiment.
yeah, and the
I
thing
mean-
the thing that usually makes me just go, hey, you guys are acting like these monuments have been up since the Civil War. It's like, they are not. They were actually put up during the time of the Civil Rights Movement, and they were in direct retaliation of segregation. Like, they literally came in around the 50s and 60s, and they made these and put them across various populaces of integrated areas,
Lame.
or made them into places where they knew integrated areas had to walk in, naming schools the Robert E. Lee Middle School, Elementary School.
Lame.
They did that on purpose during this time period as intimidation acts. These things were not made to honor these great fallen heroes. They were literally made as an FU to desegregation, and to basically intimidate people who were trying to just live their lives and make sure that everybody had a peaceful human right. So it's like, and they still didn't get the understanding that we are not trying to erase history.
No.
It's not like these people are direct descendants of these guys. Some of them may be,
Well-
but it's not like they were trying to say, let's get rid of this blight of the American Civil War. And it's like, you realize that you're trying to erase history, but you can't erase history because me as a black person, I'm here because of what these people wanted.
Well, not only that, but neither side will erase that history. You have the people who are, for some reason, proud of the Confederacy. They're not going to, clearly, which is their right. And then you have all the people that, well, frankly, got hurt by it. And they're not going to let it go. So it's like, I don't see they're trying to erase it thing doesn't make any sense, because clearly no one's going to be able to erase it. And it shouldn't be. We shouldn't forget that sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't get what the real issue is. It's like, seriously?
Yeah, and it's not
I mean, you have a statue with the words white supremacy on it, and you think to yourself, this isn't going to cause any problems.
Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to find that picture, because I actually saved the inscription that was, oh, here it is. Oh, let's see. United States troops took over the state government and reinstated the usurpers, but the national election in November 1876 recognized white supremacy in the South and gave us our state.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, once again, history, we shouldn't forget it. We need to preserve that. But, I mean, honestly, I'm a white person, and I don't need to have a statue out there telling me that I'm better than everybody else. I mean, it just seems like a massive, like ego flaw or something. Why does anybody need that? Who cares?
Not only that, but to me, it just shows how insecure you.
Thank you, insecure.
That time period was like when you have to erect statues in direct retaliation of a peaceful movement to show how big and powerful you are, and you're not going to let this happen. Like you're not going to let basic human rights happen. Therefore, you erect a statue telling people how you hate others.
Yeah,
But
I
yet,
don't
that's supposed to be
get it.
prideful? That's supposed to be a pride? Like,
Well, it's I don't get how that makes white people better. Yeah, I mean, I don't get that. It's like, no, acting amazingly cool and being great examples of human beings. You know, not. I don't. That's just part of humanity I've never understood. I've just never understood it. I've tried to, but I just seem to be incapable of. I don't know. I don't get why people have to act like that.
because there's lots of insecure people in this world. Lots of insecure, lots of angry, lots of people who feel that for some reason they feel that they're getting pushed out of their world. It's like,
but they're not.
Yeah, it's like I that's the part I don't understand is when Time magazine and various other articles did think pieces of the white people will be the minority in like another 30 or 40 years or so.
Well, white people are the minority on the planet.
That's it exactly.
Yeah,
But
I mean, this isn't new.
Yeah, but as far as like United States,
Mm-hmm.
so I think they're saying by 2050 or something like that, white people will be a minority.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, that makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
I
I don't understand why, because
I don't get that.
it's not like, hey, you had to live with being the only white person in your class. Which I will take it to effect that I've had some white friends who were the only white people in their various things because they grew up in either multi-ethnic or majority of colored neighborhood or POC neighborhoods, basically. Yeah. And so, and honestly, there was one I remember talking to him, and he was saying how he basically was treated very poorly because he was the white boy in the class.
But on the same note, when I've been over in Fort Wayne and we went over and visited your family's been nothing but cool with me. Mm-hmm. And so I've spent how many Thanksgivings and Christmases being the only white person in the house. Right. Now, on the same note, when we've gone down to Fort Wayne, we hit a mall or whatever, yeah, I've had some black people not look at me so great. But there was this one time, it was for a barbecue or something, but we had to go out and get cups or something. And we went to this little corner, like, dollar store or whatever, and it was not the greatest neighborhood, blah, 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 yada, yada. The store was not, I mean, you could see the place.
The Lola's birthday.
It was probably it. I don't want to say get robbed, but you could see there being problems in the neighborhood. I'm not going to necessarily say the stereotypical thing, but you could see that this area probably had some problems. All right, so I'm hanging out. Nobody in the store gave me any problems. I don't remember. I was probably the only white person there. And this old dude comes in. I mean, we're talking the old school black dude. And I mean, just, he was blue collar. He was cool. You know, he just had a big grin on his face. I think he had some kind of really awesome shirt or whatever. And he walked by and I'm like, dude, that is a great shirt. And he looked at me and smiled and patted me on the shoulder and just said, thanks, man. And I'm like, no, I get it. Not everybody's a jerk. Not everybody's cool. I get it. But when people are going like, scared that they're going to be, it's like, I've been the only white guy in some of these situations. And I realize that I probably haven't been in the worst neighborhoods. I'm going to completely admit to that. But I also haven't been in great neighborhoods. and I haven't bumped into any problems. And you know, we've gone in, we've done like those dudes that go barbecue out on the corner near
the barbecue shack.
yeah, the barbecue shack. I mean, that's the black neighborhood corner barbecue experience. You know, it was. I don't remember a singular person giving me the stink eye or nothing. We went up there and it was just another dude, just ordering. I think we were getting rib tips and turkey. I think we were getting.
That was good stuff, man.
And it was good. So I mean, I understand people's concerns about they're getting thrown into a situation where they don't necessarily know what's going to happen because they're not used to it. I mean, I get that. I mean, people are scared of things that they're not used to. But I don't see that as being a problem. It's like, fine, America's going to be more of what the rest of the world is. So what? I mean, we've got the taqueria just down. I mean, literally, 6 minutes walk from here? I mean, I forget what they say, but they say something when I come in the door, because now I'm like, you know, well, one of the white people from the neighborhood that come in, and it's a very Hispanic place, and I love their food. And specifically a couple of them are like, eh. I mean, I don't even think they speak a whole lot of English, to be honest, because we don't hold like really long conversations.
But they're cool with the fact.
But they're cool with me being there. And I'm like, what, do I want to drive all the Mexicans out of the country? Okay, A, not cool. These are great people. B, and I mean this, their women are so hot. And C, just are. And C, their food is so good. And you end up going like, why would I want to remove this?
A lot of it, and D, a lot of them are just really great people.
That's what I'm saying.
Live their life like we do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going like, why would I want to remove that from my neighborhood? I don't understand. They're like, well, do you want more white people? Well, sure, I want more good people, period. If they're good white people, then yes. If they're bad white people, then no. If they're good Hispanics and black and Chinese and every other color under the sun, yes. If they're bad, no. You know,
It's just like a.
I'm anti-jerk. That's what I'm saying. You know.
It's just a play on the one saying I like, with like the women belong in the kitchen, men belong in the kitchen, everybody belongs in the kitchen. The kitchen has food.
Yeah, I so belong in the kitchen. I so belong in the kitchen. Why men don't want to be in the kitchen is so weird to me.
Yeah, but honestly, it's like when I've heard people complaining about particular groups,
the which groups?
Particular groups.
Oh, particular.
Just my usual thing is asking, well, why, and do not include a racial description into it. Like, don't give me a racial stereotype, and just tell me why. It's like, and I don't want, like, it's going to boil down to usually, well, I'm just a racist. Like, well, admits, like, if you just come out and flatly say, I'm a racist, I mean,
they're out there.
Usually when somebody says, I'm not racist, but chances are 99% what's going to come out of their mouth is racist.
Well, it's my opinion is incredibly simple. I'm anti-jerk.
Yeah.
I've got a couple other words that I could use, but jerk is the nicest one. I'm anti-jerk, and I don't want jerks as my neighbors. I don't want jerks moving into my neighborhood. I don't want jerks, period. But if you're a good person, and I don't care what description you are beyond that, if you're a good, classic white Christian Republican guy and you're not a jerk, then yes, come into my neighborhood. I've grown up with those guys. There's a lot of good dudes there. But if you are a good transsexual or Muslim or gay or black, look, if you're a good person, then yes, I want you in the neighborhood because you're a good person. If you're somebody that's going to lend me a hand when I need help, then absolutely yes. But if you just happen to be the same description as I am, but you're a jerk, why would I want you in the neighborhood? You're a jerk.
Yeah,
okay, we'll say 50 people with this skin color, from northern Michigan, like I am, speaking the same form of dreadful English that I speak, All of which with problems shaving on a regular basis, because I can't seem to remember to do that all the time. But they're all jerks. Why would I want them around? Oh, they look like me. That's great. No, it's not. I don't care if they look like me.
As I usually say, trash is trash no matter what color bag you put it in.
Yeah.
You've been going for just over an hour now.
Oh, have I? Yeah, it's when we get talking, I kind of think I slowed down on the sketching.
It looks good though.
Oh, it's good. It's getting there. It's getting there, Mia. But yeah, it's yeah, I guess I mean I get why some people are scared about things changing in America, but it's like this is how the world is. It's like this is just, you know, do you think I don't get it?
For you, and it'll change after you.
Yeah, it's going to be completely different in 50 years after it was completely different. I mean, it's completely different now than it was 50 years ago. It's completely different than it was 50 years before that. It's like that's just the way it is. Let's concentrate on people not being jerks, you know?
That's pretty much all I ask for. It's like, you know what? The world is going, and it's going to keep going, and then, like, in the meantime, can we just not be stupid to each other while it's going?
Yeah,
all I ask.
that's all I'm asking, is that we just all collectively not be jerks. I think that's the best we can ask for. Because when people like, and this does bother me, and it slipped out of my mouth a couple times, and I don't mean to do it, because I don't have problems with, like, the good old boys. And I'm talking about, you know, the guys that just live out in the woods and stuff. A lot of those dudes are actually good dudes. The hillbilly kind of farmer type. I grew up with some of these guys. Some of these guys are really good. And admittedly, it slipped out of my mouth a couple times, you know, hickerbilly and redneck and stuff, which isn't fair, because some of these dudes are really good dudes. Some of them aren't. Period. The jerks. But some of them are really good. So it's like, I just, you know, I don't care what the description is. And I think part of it is I've had some really bad examples in my life of kind of the I guess, hillbilly type. But I know that that's not everybody, because I've met these really awesome dudes, some of which with really amazing accents, clearly from the country, doing that really great, slow, laid-back kind of way. Well, non-city people speak. We in the city speak really fast. But I'm going like, yeah, exactly, the drawl. And I'm going like, there's nothing wrong with these dudes. They're good dudes. Some of them aren't. But that's what I mean, is I just care about the cool people. The jerks can just, you know, well, they can just, you know, stay where they're at and, you know, just stay away from me and go live your happy, long life. And
In the immortal words of Bill and Ted, be well to each other.
just be awesome. Just be awesome to each other. Okay, we're a little different. That's fine. Everybody's a little different.
Be well to each other, dude.
Let's just be awesome to each other. Oh, man. Why can't people just get along? good enough for now. Yeah, I think that's good enough for now. Oh. Well, everyone, have yourself a good week. Thank you for joining us again. Will not apologize for anything that we talk about on here. Because you're getting this for free. So what can I say? Alright, so everyone have yourself a good week. And there's a zoom out, which only makes it tiny on your screen. Haha. And I will catch you guys next week. Everyone have a good one.